Hello, creative people. Welcome to Creative Conversations. My name is Hollis Citron, and we are so happy that you have chosen to spend this hour with us. So I am owner and founder of I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing, and I am on a mission to expand the definition of creativity beyond a pencil and a paintbrush and empower people, especially adults, to own their voice that come in so many different forms. So this space was created to talk with people with all different jobs, hobbies, and interests, and have conversations about experiences and perspectives, all centered around three questions. 1, how do you define creativity? 2, how do you incorporate it into your life? And 3, why do you think it's important? Then we have a free-flowing conversation, and we see where it goes. So I have had the opportunity to talk to musicians, Reiki masters, mediums, doctor, lawyer, real estate agents, and so many more. And these conversations explore the reality that creativity is not cute, it is necessary. People have defined creativity as their soul's essence, courage, imagination, basically all that we are and want to be. So sharing these stories expands one's thinking and opens up self-expression to feel more empowered, connected, and dare I say, happy. So my inspiring guest for today is Amy Gonzalez-Nelsen. Amy is a vibrant, heart-centered speaker whose magnetic energy makes her a must-see. More than a traditional motivational speaker, Amy inspires by effortlessly blending the healing components of humor, movement, and energy into a tangible approach to overall life balance. Amy, welcome to the space.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious. I am seriously not this bad. I don't know what in Christmas trees was going on.
Oh my gosh. This is what happens a lot of times when people are really on time. They're like, I'm going to get, or early. They're like, I'm going to get in really early. I'm like, don't be early. Like,
But you know what? It's so weird. It wouldn't work on my laptop. It only worked
it doesn't. It's only on your phone or your iPad.
Okay, gosh dang it. Well, there you go.
I thought that anyway, you're here.
Did. No. You did. I heard iPad and I looked at my laptop. I'm like, oh, that's the same thing. So to go with that.
Okay, so let's just breathe for a minute. Whew.
Okay, so I just want to say to all the listeners, I love things like this personally because it just shows you how human we really are and how much reliant we are on technology. So, my fellow other humans that are listening, I know you can understand.
Exactly. Well, I am so glad that you're here.
Yay!
We made it. Yay, Amy!
Thank you for your patience, honestly.
Of course. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. So, I just read the tiniest bit about you. So, could you please give people a little bit more information about who you are before we do a deeper dive?
Yes. So, hello, everybody that is listening. I'll start out by saying that I am not a technology person. So, we'll start there. My name is Amy Gonzalez-Nelsen, and I'm a self-proclaimed bravery activator, soul polisher, and speaker. And it is my goal to share as much as I can to support, advocate, and educate on the importance of acknowledging that being brave in itself is truly the greatest act of all, and of course being human. So that's a brief bit about me.
That is brief, but we're going to do a much deeper dive. And when I ask you the first question, and just that word bravery is such a rich word, and I can't wait to get into hearing how you really dive in and shine your light with that. But first, we're going to do a would you rather question.
Okay.
So, drum roll. There we go. And Amy,
yes.
Would you rather ride an elephant or a camel to school or work?
Probably an elephant. And
I thought the same thing. Why did you think that?
They're so majestic, and though both animals do kind of take their time, elephants do have a tremendous affection. Um, and I don't know, their ears just remind me of like giant, warm, like heavy blankets.
I love it.
I feel them wrapping around my legs and telling me everything is cool, Um, and yeah, I've always found elephants incredibly, besides being insanely wise, there's just more to them.
Mm. I have to say, I am so jealous. My daughter, she is planning a trip to Bali and
Oh,
Singapore, and she's going to be 19, and she is going to stay in Singapore at a place where they have elephants. It's an elephant sanctuary.
oh my gosh, how beautiful.
I know, right? She's
Yeah.
always, ever since she was young, she's like, I want to be around elephants.
Well, that should say a lot too, then, why she's choosing elephants specifically. They're revered so much in Thailand, and just, they hold so much luck and just human.
Oh, where'd you go? All of a sudden you went away.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Did you just get a phone call?
No, no.
Oh, that was weird. You
Yeah.
said they're very majestic, and then you went away. I was like, "Where'd she go?"
Yeah, it must be the majesticness of the elephant taking me away. Just the fact that they possess so much affection and wisdom and stuff within each other and ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I can't wait to see the pictures that she has and all of that. So, okay, so let's dive in officially to the
okay.
first question, which is, how do you define creativity?
Beautiful question. Creativity for me is such a um, broad and wide, beautiful subject, right? Creativity could be the physicalness of, say, your art, creating. It's also in the way that you move. There is creativity in how we speak, how we love one another. There is beauty to it. There's movement. I Anytime someone gives me the word creativity, I always feel movement, see movement, and this
Mm,
kind of cyclical flow of many colors and the colors that we emanate and put out to each other, in the emotions that we possess, and just the journey of life is creative.
mm. Gosh, so much of what you said was so descriptive. I love those descriptive words that you said. First, you started off by saying it's broad and wide and beautiful. And then you said moving, speaking, how we love one another, how we feel, movement, cyclical flow, circles, color. There was so much description in that.
Hmm. I am a descriptive person. I'm a tangible person, and the more I could describe things, it is my goal that those can find that image in themselves, or image in their heads, to experience it in their own way, in their own
Mm.
perspective.
Do you do that as well as do you have a an area where it's more your strength, where it's speaking or writing or movement? Is there an area?
Movement, yeah, definitely. I teach a practice called NIA, which stands for Neurological Integrative Action, and it combines 9 different movement arts. So you have 3 from martial arts, 3 from dance, and 3 from healing. So there is such a plethora of areas that you can tap into to move your body. And sound, music has always been the biggest tool that I've used since I was a young girl. It resonates with me on so many levels. And now that I'm older, I understand the science behind it as well. So there's that combination of the spiritual and the scientific that just does its own dance. Um,
Hmm,
and the vibrations that we each possess, and then it's the frequencies that we put out. That's how we connect with people. So life has
yeah.
a rhythm.
Life has, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Life has a rhythm to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's get a little bit of backstory and let's work our way to this.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit more about your journey. Yeah, tell us about your journey if you could.
Sure. Well, journey for me began. I'm originally from New York, and have been living in the South for about 16 years. I just realized that this is the longest place I've ever lived in my entire life. So I went through divorce with my mom young, and my brother and I were kind of pretty much left as a single mom to traverse the amazing jungle of New York City and Brooklyn.
Mhm.
So risk taking and being exposed to so much culture and different walks of life started early. And I always questioned everything. I always carried a soapbox around and wanting to defend others and making sure that, everyone's rights were met. And just this tremendous need of connecting with people was established very, very young. I'm a talker, I'm a connector. I am one to just want to be with another person, knowing and didn't know it at the time, but there's an exchange, there's a constant exchange. So this carried me throughout my life, but also understanding that I had anxiety young. And at the time, those words weren't used. Amy was always the emotional one, the one who was so dramatic, the one who would cry all the time. And in reality, it was a young child that was just exposed to so much so fast. And there began the foundation of mental wellness. So it's carried me throughout my teens, 20s, and now currently here. I am a single mom myself. And I also have two children who have anxiety. And it's now become my service and purpose on this planet to advocate as much as I can for mental wellness, but also to help and support others to rediscover or discover that bravery that lives within them, because being human is brave.
Hmm. I love how you said about the soapbox. You started that young. It's that I can completely relate to that. There are so many things that resonated with what you said,
Hmm.
but I completely latched onto that because I was always tiny, shy, but was ready to stand up. I'd stand up for the wall if the wall needed standing up for. Like,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the same kind of thing where it was like, okay, your rights are being taken away. The big bully at the bus stop is being picked on by somebody else. I'm going to protect him.
Yeah, yeah. I think also too, I had the tremendous privilege of living in such an area where there were so many cultures, right? So there was constant conversation in all different levels, right, about someone's rights or women and equality and just pursuant of artists and being able to express. So I had that ability, and then as I got older and traveled the world, yeah, I've seen a lot. And I realized since living in the South just how naive I really am about certain things, things still exist, and very much so, and it's that constant, I guess, internal flame of that, okay, let's go. There's just more folks to connect with and share that journey with.
I like how you just said that. Okay, this is the way it is. So there's more connecting to happen.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one of the biggest things that I talk about is the importance of we're all in it together. Because if we're not, we're all going down with the ship. This amazing, wonderful Earth is really requires all of us to participate in it. And when I speak to clients, when I speak to folks, I remind them that there is a constant exchange. There's something that I need in you, and there's something that I have that you need, and that's where that importance of collaborating comes in.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so necessary. It's that whole thing of when people realize that, oh no, I can do it. I can do it. I do. It's all the me, keep, let me, like this whole control thing that
Yeah.
we get, and taking
Yeah.
all of that burden on ourselves. It's nobody's taking, I mean, it does happen where people take each other's ideas or they take credit for things or, but we can't live in bubbles where we just do everything alone. It's lonely. It makes you feel lots of bad things and it doesn't help the collective.
No, and it really isolates yourself on so many levels. It isolates your own creativity, right?
Yeah,
It isolates your natural flow of energy. So you are in essence just on this roundabout merry-go-round that you're not getting off of. So
exactly. Yes, yes, yes. So let's tap into that you mentioned a little bit earlier, Nia.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us more. That is, yeah, that's
Yeah,
got my attention.
Nia is the practice that literally saved my life. So I discovered Nia in 2013 when I was at my kind of really getting into that space of enough. Okay, enough because I am enough, and what happens now? The decision to, is this what my life's all about? That kind of culmination of things. And what I describe best about the feeling is if everyone's swam in a pool before and you sink to the bottom, and you could still feel the foundation of the bottom of the pool, but you could look up and you could still see, light, but that pressure of the water on top of you, that for me was how I described that enough, that point of, well, there's no better place to go but up at this point.
Mhm.
So I was never the one to sit down. And though yoga, oh, go take yoga, yoga's great. I just never really drawn to me. Dance and music was always what I resonated with as a young child. So I was introduced to this class by another woman in a yoga class that I was taking. And I took my first class and just literally sobbed the entire class from start to finish. And it was, that was it. It rocked me to the core of, first of all, what the heck's going on that I'm sobbing so much? And then two, why are all these other women truly moving in their body's way? We're hooting and hollering. We are expressing, there was such a freedom in it. There was such a permission to be in this space collectively. Nobody's looking at each other any other way. And I went up to the instructor and I was like, yo, what is this? And I pointed to my face, it was like my face is red, that really heavy cry. And she's like, oh, it's the magic of Nia. And I said, well, you could take it and shove it because I ain't liking it. Like I was so angry of what was going on. And then I kept coming back to the class, and I think I went maybe 4 more times. And the more I really gave myself permission and allowed myself to step into it fully, the more I was like, okay, I want more. I want in. And I was off to take my certification, my white belt, not even 2 months later. And I've been teaching now for 8 years. And really it was the catalyst that moved. So my body literally needed to move to break up the memories and the emotions. What I tell people is we hold things on a very cellular level. And when we move, things come up. So it was the ability to really look at what was kind of underneath that kind of, in those nooks and crannies of my body. And here was an opportunity for me to look at it and honor it and move through it, literally and figuratively, and then let it go. And it was so cathartic. It was, it added to my already therapy, regime that I was on. And I was looking at other women, and men do come, it's not just a woman's practice, and just seeing that played out amongst them all, and how much that ability for them to feel safe, to let go, and then just watch their bodies relax and be in their own way and move their own way. And oh my God, it was just amazing. I'm still in tremendous awe when I see it in class today after teaching so much that, when someone is out of their head, but in their body, truly in their body, there's just such a beautiful painting. Like, they are like literally they're creating their own works of art with their body.
Oh my gosh. That's such a beautiful image. I love how you said that you did this. You were like in your emotions, you're bawling, you're feeling it, and then you're angry. It's like you went up to the teacher and you were like, what the hell is this? I don't like it. It's even though you were in this and it was just express, express, express,
Mm-hmm.
purge, purge, purge. And then there's this like, why this is out of my control. What is happening? But then you're drawn to go back and then you're
Yeah.
certified 2 months later. Like, isn't it interesting how the brain works?
It's phenomenal. And I think that was it too, because I was at a point where my higher self knew it was time to step into this space when I was holding on to things for so long. on so many levels, emotionally, physically, mentally, that it was time. So the anger came from, I wanted to keep it all in still, like I was so hoping to keep it under lock and key. And here I am now, and the floodgates are open. I was like, yo, this can't happen in front of all these people, number one, and then two, am I ready for it? So it was one of those opportunities that I could have literally just left and said, forget this. But there was so much more to it where it was when you're in the right time, right place. And when I really started to understand what the practice was doing, I was like, heck, if this could do this to me, what can this do to other people? And I'm like, I want in. So I jumped like 2 feet, head, arms, legs, you name it, into it. And it really, it was a catalyst. It was that push to be like, okay, this is going to continue to evolve into what you do now. So not that there wasn't kicking and screaming, everyone that's listening, nothing happens in this easy form, but it's this ever evolving journey that continues to this day.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of evolution, being open to this evolution, being open to the, like you said, the getting out of your head and actually being in your body. And it's so true when people are truly moving
Mm-hmm.
from their body, from their heart, from their soul,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole different expression. Everything is different. There are these canvases that you're creating. You're just moving through space. It
Yeah.
feels different on every level. When we are so tight and controlled and in our heads and all of that negative chatter and whatever, the lower vibration feelings, our body is so stiff.
It is. And when I really started to embrace the practice, at the time, my youngest was 3, and my eldest was 7. So I started to, relay this back to them and getting them to really embrace their body and be proud of it and understand how it moves and the joy of moving your body. Understanding those triggers that come up, when they feel angry or sad or confused, where do you feel it in your body? Having them connect that mind and body together. And that's when I started to shift away from saying, mental, mental health. It's more mental wellness. Our bodies and mind come together because it's whole body work, so that, dialogue shifted for me. One of my favorite books that came along at the right time was The Four Agreements. Do you know it?
Yes, I'm pretty. Is it more like a children's book or no?
No,
Do
no,
they
no.
often? No, no.
It,
Okay, tell
yeah,
me.
it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he discusses the history of the Toltec. I don't want to say religion, but in South America, their way of moving in their culture, and it was these 4 major agreements, and it was, be impeccable with your word,
Hmm.
don't assume, always do your best, and oh my god, I'm totally going back to
Yeah.
the other one. And it was all about simplicity, but how much we are making up life, like, humans
Mhm.
and where we are. This is all a dream, right? So we have the ability to be these generational breakers, and we have the ability to change the narrative. So I started seeing this as a scripted reality, and here we are, and I get to choose, and I've always had the ability to choose, and thus my children have the ability to choose. Um, so it began to evolve in its own right, and that enters your body too. So again, all these levels continues to stack up onto each other, and I'm like, okay, how can I make this something bigger than what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. So let's talk about this word bravery.
mhm.
So let's get this conversation going about bravery. So I called this talking to a bravery. Oh God. Okay. Let's try that again. Talking to a bravery activator and soul polisher.
Yes. So when I was in the midst of really stepping into myself and acknowledging that yes, being human is brave. When I think of the word brave, of course, it's the standard what I was raised to believe. Bravery is a soldier, and I'm not downplaying it by any means. Bravery is, someone running into a burning building to save someone. And then it got me thinking, well, hey, I'm getting up every day to participate in my life. That's brave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to put my pants on. I'm choosing to take care of my family. All of these choices to step into my life is brave.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, wait a second. You know what? Every single one of us are brave to choose to live our lives. So that kept moving into the space of, well, what is brave? And to me, I created the acronym of bold, resilient, authentic, vulnerable energy. And that's what brave is for me. And that's what I tell folks is that, each and every one of us has the ability to be a bravery activator for ourselves as well as someone else.
Mm. Because it's this whole part of mental wellness, as you said, which I really appreciated, instead of mental illness or mental wellness, because it is mental wellness to realize and acknowledge how we step into our lives and these choices that we
Absolutely.
make. It is freaking brave, because for men, I can say it's a godsend. It's a gift that you wake up the next day, you can put your feet on the floor and say thank you. And all of the things that we face throughout the day, all of the decisions, all the choices, all of the, as we script it, so much bravery in every moment.
Absolutely. And it's the acknowledgement of generations past. If we're still here, obviously we've been doing something right? The human population, we are still here and we're still evolving. To me, that's brave. We didn't wipe each other out. And that's so important for me to keep acknowledging when I and myself are in a tremendous space of discomfort. I don't like to say so much depressed. It's, our bodies are needing this deep rest, this moment to just chill for a bit, to then regather and begin again. And, you know, when folks say, oh, but mental illness is a disease, no, it's a dis-ease. Our bodies are in a state of dis-ease. We've gone through so much as we evolved. I mean, we've got to give ourselves credit. We've got to give ourselves a moment of a high five.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when all of this kept continuing to evolve about, hey, you know what, you have this ability to activate that bravery in you. Remind yourself, dang, I got up this morning, I'm brave.
Mm-hmm.
I am choosing to go to work, I'm choosing to take a shower. Though it may sound simplistic for some, but it's not for others. There's so much going on, there's so much incoming now more than ever. It's just, God, give yourself a great big pat on the back because you've made it.
Right. Yeah, it's true. We're just going, going, going. It's just societal and just the expectation that you just keep going. And
Absolutely. And you said it. There it is. It's all about, expectation. For me, I believe expectation is the root of all evil. I think that, expectations be gone. It is a word I'd like to remove from the dictionary. And then you mentioned, soul polishing. So for me, the practice that I also am involved in is intuitive healing. So a soul polisher, again, is each and every one of us. It's me tapping into you intuitively and kind of giving yourself a little, shine up. I always envision when you shine up your shoes, right? You get that nice gleam at the tip. Well, that's your soul. It's that center part of you. And I'm here to just help guide you back to that shine. You have everything in you. I'm just kind of giving you that alternative perspective. And that's the journey that I take my clients through is this intuitive soul polishing. So, again, we each have that ability to provide that shine up for someone else, because it comes down to the end, we're all in it together.
so when you're doing this with your clients, is there, I'm sure it varies per person, uh, of where they're at and meeting them where they are. Do you do a lot of physical things, a lot of movement, a lot of talking, a lot of
Yeah. So I obviously have to make sure folks know I'm not a therapist. I am a holistic guide. I do embody a lot of holistic practices. So I bring in the practice of Nia. I bring in Reiki. I bring in sound healing and vibrations, and all of this helps folks who say don't want the traditional route, or they'll see a traditional therapist and myself. And our sessions are not, say, sitting in an office. We get out, we walk, we sometimes do Nia, um, it's the idea of keeping that energy flowing, and it I find, and my clients find, that they're finding more connection to themselves in that capacity. They are challenged themselves as opposed to a traditional route, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so much more connection because it's giving the opportunity to really have people experience, be heard. Um,
Mm.
and I think the movement for me, it is so key when I'm working with people. It's about, there has to be movement involved. There has to be a hands-on experience. There needs to be some kind of experience
Hmm.
because I think that's where people, their guard comes down. Um, there's can be talking, not talking. We kind of feel it out and see where it is. Things are appropriate at certain times, at different times. It's just being in the flow of it. But when people are in motion, when their brains are more free to be expressive, uh, they're a lot able to be a lot more vulnerable. Able to feel a lot more connection to self and to others. And there's a lot more permission that happens. Give yourself permission to try different things without feeling, oh, am I going to make a mistake? Oh, am I going to look stupid?
Yeah. First of all, I love what you said about, it's all an experience, because I absolutely believe life is an experience, right? So what better way than to practice that very part of experiencing is within your body. So that's where that movement comes in. And again, what you said about vulnerability, to me, that's where the magic happens, when
Yeah.
we are literally in our vulnerability. And that's part of my BRAVE acronym. It's that energy that, I don't know, I want to say where all that juice is, where that meaty part
Hmm.
of life is in that part. And um I'm finding more and more that, when we give ourselves permission, when we allow, it's that flow is continuous. It's not, I want to say easier, it just feels right.
Hmm.
um, and when I say movement for others, I tell them, even if you're doing nothing, you're making the choice. If you're still breathing, you're still moving.
Right. Right.
So movement's still occurring, movement's
Right.
still happening.
Right, right. It's like this different level of awareness. Doesn't mean that you have to be jumping around, dancing, and
Sure.
all of that. It's yeah, it's just a different level of awareness. I always see there's so much busyness that happens where it's like filling space,
Yeah.
but it's not intentional.
Yeah.
It goes with a different mindset and a different vibration where there's anxiety or there's I hope this is like satisfying. I hope they think it's good enough. Like there's that other things attached to it where it is completely different. Whereas if you're sitting there having if you're sitting there breathing, talking or not talking, but intentionally sitting there, it's completely different.
Yeah. And, the more that there is this dialogue out there, me, you, whomever else is out there, it's it's more information. It's more education. It's more for us to think outside the box, because there is none.
Yeah.
We humans have created this box. And for me, it's this limited energy where we are unlimited energy. We are unlimited in what we can create and put out into the world. So the more we get the message out there, the more we have this discussion, hey, it's going to hit someone.
It is. It's if it hits at least one person, but I know it will hit a lot more than that because you're exactly right. This is why we're having these conversations
Yeah.
because it's expansion. for
Yeah.
me, we're expanding the definition of creativity beyond a pencil and a paintbrush, but having these conversations, I get to tap into all these other people's worlds and what they're doing and what their missions are and what their whys are. And it's so beautiful. I am so grateful
Yeah, I love this
for the
journey.
space.
Yeah, I love this journey with podcasting. I mean, I when I first did my first podcast, I was like, "Oh my god," I was a little nervous, but then to think, "Hey, I'm having this conversation with someone who lives in New Zealand for crying out loud."
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, and I'm like, "Well, this is so cool." And it's just, this release, there is no competition. We're all here collaborating together for the betterment of each other. And just to be able to be part of that person's world for 45 minutes or 50 or half an hour, it doesn't matter. It's now I have this connection with someone else, clear across the big blue ocean, and we're all focusing on the same journey, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, it definitely does. So before we move on to the second question, I want to touch on when we had our pre-chat, I wrote this down and it caught my attention in what you said. Live inside self or outside self. And I wonder if we can kind of talk about that for a minute.
Um, you know, when we're living inside of ourselves, we are truly aligned, right? We are connected, both to, and I say spiritually, religious, whatever connects with you, you're both aligned above and below into earth. So we're living in this amazing, authentic truth. Living outside of ourselves is away from home, if you want to say. It's like this space in between your home, your heart, your soul. And the more, this is where movement comes into, the more you practice connecting to body, you could feel yourself outside of yourself.
Mm.
So those triggers of, okay, well, wait a second, let me give myself a moment to decide, is this really mine or is it someone else's? Am I is the mental part of me making this decision, or is my higher self, is that space of where my truth lives making that decision? And that's just the journey for self. It's listening to yourself, it's asking those questions for yourself, and knowing what's yours and what's not yours, and being responsible for yourself, and then taking the moment to practice that part of life, because life is going to continue whether you're in it or not.
There we go. Life is going to continue. It's happening.
Yeah.
We're in progress.
Yeah. So again, it's that reminder, like, heck, you could stay wherever you are for as long as you want, but life's going to keep going. Sun's going to still rise and set. And whether you step in or not clearly becomes a choice up to you. Regardless of the ups and downs and sideways, it's just life.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can choose to have that alternative perspective or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew, okay, so we are going into the second question, which I want to welcome people here with us live. Thank you so much for being here. We
Yay.
appreciate you. Any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the chat box below where we can see them. So, how do you incorporate more creativity into your own life, Amy?
Great question. I know when I feel, I don't want to say dull, when I feel gray, when I feel that there needs to be more spark, or I would like more spark. So I go to places that bring that part up to me, whether it's gardening. I found that I have become really good at propagating. I can never say it correctly.
Yeah,
Propagating.
propagating.
There you go. When you take a piece off and you put it in.
Yeah, when you take a part of the plant and replant it
There
to
you
make it
go.
grow. Yes, I got it.
So there you go. So I found that I'm actually pretty good at that. And that I was shocked. Again, I was never, a plant chick or being in the dirt, and I love it. It brings me a sense of peace and connection, and dang it, I actually created something.
So wait a
uh,
minute, wait a minute. So how did you discover that you were good at it?
My dad taught me, and then since he passed, I've been saying, "Oh, well, I'm going to try it." And I was like, "Well, this isn't that difficult." And I decided to use it also, like, I'm going to talk to you. So now I'm in my own home. Like I said, I was divorced. I am divorced, and I needed to again add more creativity into my life. And I was like, okay, let me try this instead of buying all these plants from Lowe's that keeps dying every year. I'm like, let me see if I could continue this growth. And voila, I'm like, well, dang it, this caught on pretty quick. And so now this plant is growing into another plant, and I'm separating them. And I was like, okay. And folks say, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just doing what my dad taught me, but I'm also talking to them and, adding a bit of myself and joy and love into their amazing life. And they're giving me in return. So there's an exchange there. And then I'm seeing this beautiful garden grow on my porch, and it's become my sanctuary. And then that thought of bringing them inside when it was cold, now my house looks like a solarium, but it's it's beautiful. And it's crazy because I have to put tape over the tops of my plants because I have cats. So
Oh,
they're trying to jump in. But so yeah, so that became part of my life. I've also I don't necessarily color, but I beautify, if you want to say. Like, my son is a tremendous artist, and I love how he expresses. So I'm putting up his work in the house and really being conscious and intentional of how I'm creating my space to bring that joy into my life.
mm. Yeah, I think that's I love those words, conscious and intentional of how you're bringing it in.
Mm.
Because and you're using the word joy continuously, and that's what it is. Because that's what this whole space is about, is that creativity goes beyond a pencil and a paintbrush. Creativity to me is it's expression. So it's a component of it. So how you choose to express yourself, whether that's in your job, what you're getting paid
Mhm.
for, whether it's in your personal life, it's what however you can show up, the
Yes.
clothes that you put on your body, the food that you eat and how you eat it, how you interact with other people. Just using your voice and using your words is an exchange. It's
Yes.
it's a creative element in how we speak. It's like in this movie LA Story. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's from like a while ago.
I know of it. I haven't seen it though.
There's a scene where they're sitting around the table, and there's a whole bunch of people, and they're like, oh, well, so and so's taking a class and studying the art of conversation. And Steve Martin looks at her and goes, oh, really? And she goes, yes. He's like, oh. So, I mean, if you think about it, if every exchange you had with someone was like a one word exchange, there's absolutely no creative, there's nothing being formed in that. There's no shaping, nothing's being built and expanded. It's just stays at one level. So, if people understand that words and conversation is a creative element, just that in itself is an expansion of thinking, you know?
It is. And I will say though, growing up, I come from a line of very creative. My grandmother was an artist, painted, played piano, guitar. My father played drums. My grandfather painted. My great uncle was an opera singer. My brother, I mean, we have galore in all different areas, painting, music. And I was like, well, crikey, what is my talent? What is my creativity? And I always compared myself with that, and then not realizing that my movement, the way I'm creating my own music, my energy, my joy, my happiness, my love for life and other people, that's creativity. That is also a form of art. Um, so when I connected those two, and it didn't happen young, it happened later in life, I was like, well, dang it. It's important for me to share that with others, especially my kids. My youngest is insanely talented. He could create a whole model out of cardboard boxes. He's the kid who wants to go to Goodwill and just create with stuff. And my youngest, my eldest, his creativity is this logical beautifulness in the way he creates Legos. Like there's still so much beautiful art that they're creating, different but their own.
Of course.
Right. So that's what I like to point out to everybody that I talk to, clients too, is that, I don't even know, I'm not good at anything, I can't paint. I said, well, let's keep talking. What do you do?
Right.
And that's, you love your family. You are so great with your animals. God, that's huge. So that's that soul polishing part again. That's that bringing them back into center. That's bringing themselves outside of themselves and into themselves.
I really like that. Sometimes you have to go out in order to come back in. You have to see yourself from the outside
Yes.
in
Yeah.
order to then go to the inside and really get to know yourself. I mean, so often people go through lives and we really don't know who we are.
Yeah. And, again, it comes down to just meeting people where they're at. I know for me, again, I made that choice. So when I was journeying after divorce, I dated myself. I took a good year and a half, almost 2 years off before I even entered that world again.
Yeah.
And it was to really get to know me. What is it, I don't want to say the old me. It was kind of getting myself reacquainted with the Amy that was from birth to that point, and then thanking her and giving her all the props and forgiveness and grace, and then stepping into this next portion because it's ever evolving. The journey is not ended. And when it does end, well, then I'm, transitioning to the great beyond. But until then, there are many different roads that I am traveling on. And sometimes I have to sit for a while on that road.
Yes.
And just wait.
I was recently speaking to someone and they said something very similar. And it's like sometimes you just have to sit. You have to sit in it.
Yes, you
have to
do.
sit, and then you figure, okay, it's not someplace that you're going to lay down and sleep because if it doesn't feel good, it's like if you're not expressing, you're repressing.
Oh,
So if you're not if you're not allowing yourself to feel, if you're not identifying the emotion, then it's so unhealthy. That's where disease
yes.
comes from. It's like at times I get like, okay, just let me say what I need to say. Like I need to get it out. I'm not going to live in this space of complaining about it all the time. I don't want to be in the space. And if I do, then please remind me and I will, just please let me know that I am living in this space. But it needs to get out. And then we can move on.
Yes. And I tell clients too about, there are benches along each of your roads. And there are moments where you need that bench and you're just going to hang out for a bit. And that's absolutely okay. I'm a solution driven person. And I tell folks, even if sitting still, that's still a solution, right? That's a solution for yourself at that moment. Hang out, have some ice cream, have a glass of wine, and then pack all the stuff and keep going. Because the reminder is life is going to continue. The grass will still grow under your feet, so it's your choice how much you want that grass to grow before you pick up and go again. But keep reflecting back that that's a choice that you're making. And that moment of saying, okay, I'm done, I'm packing my bag and I'm ready to continue to move on. But I come with this huge, amazing, endless, Mary Poppins backpack toolkit of mental wellness tools that I could use. I could tap into them any way I want and any moment I want.
And that's what's so beautiful about your message to me is that whole bravery aspect. Because everything that you're saying, I'm just hearing the word brave. Because even as you're sitting on that bench and you're chilling out, you're not talking, you're having the ice cream, you're listening to music, you're whatever you're doing, it's a brave aspect to choose to take the next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when we are in this world and we are viewing all of this, when did we come to this place that we have to constantly go, 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 go and work, whomever created that concept, we're missing the very magnificent part of what it is to be human and to have a life, right? That constant go, 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 we're missing all those parts in between. If we're so focused on the end, right? We're beginning, but we're so focused on this end goal or getting to the end, all that in between is action packed, filled with the best. It's like the most sprinkled ice cream cone you could ever have, right? That's where all of that lives. And so returning and understanding that, embrace each moment as it comes, because you're building more of your brave foundation. You're building more of what makes you so incredibly unique and awesome, and what contributes out to the world, because the world needs your unique vibration.
Yeah. I'm thinking of, again, I think in movies, the movie
I love
Letters,
you too.
Letters to Juliet, and
Oh yeah, I watched that recently. Holy cow, that's so
oh
funny.
my God, I've seen that so many times. And yeah, she said, life is in the naughty bits.
Yes, life is so in the naughty bits. Oh my god, it's so true. And the more we could bring up those moments. If it's movies, for me it's music. We could those that are creating that, right, that's their unique gift to us, and it's meant for us to hear for that particular reason, right? So it just adds on to that toolkit of, yep, all the wonderfulness of life are in all that naughty messy bits.
Yeah, it's gotta be messy. If it's too clean, if it's too, yep, everything is seamless. It just went from here to here to here. Ah,
No,
no.
that's a facade that doesn't exist.
Nah. At the same time, we're like, nah.
Nah, because I go back to my first Nia class. Man, I was snot filled and cried and yelling at her, and I did actually use the F. I'm like, F this. I was so pissed off. Yeah, that's life.
I just love that because it's so true. So often when we're faced with this, it's just like in our face, literally, like this is what you need. And we're just like purging. And then
Mhm.
there's that like, no, I can't be that vulnerable. I don't know. I got to hold on a little bit longer. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
and
just,
then and then also too, young, just being I was admiring all these strong women that were just out there, and they were living their truth and totally embracing everything. And of course, as a young girl, not knowing what in God's name went on in their lives behind the scenes, right? That's the thing that we keep forgetting, that what we're being presented is just a snippet. It's not even a snapshot of that person's life.
right.
And as I've gotten older to understand that, it's like, God, that's brave. That's brave for these people to get up there, and then be vulnerable. So when I was going through my divorce, it was like every, women hear me roar stepped up. I mean, there were women on the coffee shop line, in the supermarket, that just appeared. I don't want to say just appeared, because I don't believe in coincidences. And there they were, offering help and words of wisdom and support. And it was like, dang it,
Yeah.
when I chose to step into that vulnerability and allow others to see my pain,
Yeah.
and my sadness, everyone started showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. So much more awareness. So before we get on to the last question,
Sure.
um, do you have a morning routine?
Do I have a morning routine? Yes, actually, I do. So it involves my fur children. So they awake me at 6 a.m. And what I find so interesting, if those who do have fur children as well,
I like how
um,
you said that. Yeah. They bother my husband. Yeah. 4:30.
yeah,
4:30 is the
so
wake up time. Yeah.
my dog, I have this beautiful pit lab, Phoenix. She's 11, almost 12,
Ooh.
and though she is pretty much the alpha of everybody, I have a cat, Luna, that pretty much wakes her up first to wake me up. And it's interesting because my dog will then paw me to get me up, and I walk to the back door to let her out, and I stand there, and my back deck overlooks this, I call it like this faux mountain. I'm just like, my house is built on a hill, so I overlook all these beautiful trees. And I take a moment and I just admire the sunrise, and I will out loud say, oh my God, how beautiful. And I
Wow.
acknowledge it. And I've gotten into the habit of telling my kids. So if I have my kids that week and they're up at 6:30, I make sure that they take a look at that sunrise and acknowledge it. And that this ritual of mine became, and then I turn on my lights, I turn on classical music, and then that's how I start my morning. So when I was faced with, so I went through 9/11, and I've had many deaths in my family. And the particular thought to me is that those folks that have passed, that I've known and loved, and those that I didn't know, will never see that sunrise again, and will never see that sunset again. So it's kind of paying homage to them as well. That I'm going to make sure that I wake up every day and acknowledge just how beautiful it is to see that sunrise.
That is so frigging beautiful. Do you
Oh,
hear that, everybody?
thank
No,
you.
truly. First, I have to acknowledge it was really weird how I asked you that question. I was like, "Do you have morning routine?" without kind of like leading into it. So,
No worries.
everybody, that was just kind of weird how I asked you that. but, but,
No
but,
worries.
but, but this is the way that you had that unravel and share. It becomes, because you could look at it as this really annoying thing. Like, I'm being awoken by my animals, and damn it, I have to get up. I have to do this. Da da da. But it becomes this homage to where the cycle happens. Your cat wakes up the dog wakes you. You go to the door, and then acknowledge this amazing world,
Hmm.
the sunrise, and then to attach it to just being grateful, this gratitude. It's amazing.
Thank you. And, I really contribute this to the very fact of choosing to be brave and to embrace that vulnerability, right? Each of us has it within us. But it is a personal decision. It is a choice for us to decide to get to that point. And maybe it's not the sunrise. Maybe, it's acknowledging that I have amazingly clean water in my cup. you
Mhm.
know so each of us has a unique and wonderful opportunity, whether they realize it or not, that they do have a morning routine. So bringing it to someone's attention like you did, that's a great, I hope you use that for someone else too, because that's a great
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Because it got you, it's that kind of, off the cuff and fly of like, oh, do you? Well, yeah, actually I do.
yeah.
So
Because I usually do ask it, but it usually comes out more fluidly.
oh,
Where but not to everybody. But
I
but
loved it. I loved it.
so, well, thank you. But before we get to the last question, I just want to acknowledge too that a lot of times people will think, because people are putting these things into their lives, that they haven't been through anything.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, well, this person, well, good for them that they can admire the sunrise. And my dog wakes me up and it pisses me off. And, you know, th- this is like you've said throughout this whole time of us chatting, it's a choice.
Hmm.
We all have life happen to us. We don't choose to share certain aspects with ourselves because we don't. It's just, nobody needs to know everything. But just because somebody seems happy go lucky in a sense to you and incorporates these things into their lives doesn't mean that they haven't experienced things.
Absolutely. And I love that you pointed that out for when folks, I've had that mentioned to me before, and I'll stop and I'll say, hey, I don't mean to, you could tell me or not, but how old are you? I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm 47. Well, take a moment. You have been on this earth for 47 years. I am sure that if we sat down long enough, you could tell me this incredible adventure of your life, good, bad, ugly, you name it.
Mhm.
So you have lived an incredible life thus far.
Yeah.
So it's helping them acknowledge when they're in the moment or in your head to think that, oh, you have it all together. Heck no. Just like I told you, those that are listening, I indulge in, says, I'm since I am in the anxiety warrior world, ice cream is my go-to. That's what makes me feel good, you know? So yes, there are moments when I am collapsed on the floor and I'm crying and all my tears are dripping into my wonderful ice cream. I'm still going to eat it. I need it.
So actually, so then you have to tell me, do you have a favorite flavor?
I do. It's coffee. I love coffee ice cream with lots of rainbow sprinkles. So, life is beautiful and messy and yucky. And listeners that are out there, oh, we've heard that before, but it's amazing.
It is.
And also, if those don't mind me cursing, it's shitty too, I mean, it's just what makes it up all to be life.
It is. Which takes us to the last question, which kind of wraps it up nicely, which is, why do you think creativity is important?
Creativity is important because it's the golden thread that binds us all together and binds our lives. It is it's a constant weaving in and out that creates this incredible tapestry that is you. So honoring that creativity in you is just, you are in essence in constant state of building and creating and adding more to everything that makes up you.
Well, that's the most perfect way to end, everybody.
God, I hope that was good.
Oh my God, was that good, everybody? Yes. So friggin' poetic. Wow.
Well, thank you. I would love to say too that before I, talked about the 4 agreements earlier, I want to just go through them again for those that are listening. It's be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. So, I know I mentioned the book before and got stuck on my last 4. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Amy, can you please tell everybody how they can find you?
yes. So my website is called braverybrigade.com. And I am on Instagram and Facebook under Amy Gonzalez-Nelsen. I do little snippets and videos on Instagram and Facebook, so please check those out. And you can find me on my website if you choose to or want to take a little step into intuitive soul polishing. I do take clients via Zoom or face to face, or if you're in my neck of woods. So I also would like to say, like I end everything, is to brave on. Embody that sense of being brave, bold, resilient, authentic, vulnerable energy, and to brave on.
Brave on, baby. That was going to be the last thing I was going to say. Was there anything else you wanted to share?
Brave on, everybody. Go get yourself some ice cream.
Woo! That actually sounds really good right now. We're actually going to go. There's this really great app where they give food away, the food that they couldn't throw away. So there's places that actually participate in this where they don't throw the food away, and you can go purchase it at like a crazy cheap price.
Where is this?
So I forget what the app is called. I'll let you know.
Yes,
But
please do. Let the listeners know too.
I think it's Too Good to Go. I'm looking it up, the app right now, but I think it's Too Good to Go. So my daughter ordered from an Italian place, and you don't know, yeah, Too Good to Go, TOO, good to go. So download that app, and then in your area, you find out these places that do this, where she paid $5 for what would normally be 15, and they just fill the bag with whatever leftovers they have. So it's,
my God.
I know. So it's like this happy little surprise, like, ooh, what am I getting?
Yes, it's like that goodie bag, right? You get in like this awesome
Exactly.
goodie bag, you don't know what's in it. God, that
Exactly.
could, pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So there we go. So check that app out. That wasn't even like planned. I'm not doing a commercial for them, but I am.
Those that are listening, hint, hint. Call up Alice. She did great.
Creative Conversations with
There
Alice
you
John.
go. Hint, hint. Do you get a discount or a coupon? Hollis, you are awesome. Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be part of your world for a little bit. And thank you, listeners. Continue to check out Hollis. She is absolutely fantastic. So it's been an honor.
Thank you, Amy. You're so much fun and such an inspiration. And I want to learn all about this Nia. And yeah, you really just got me. This was a great way to end a Sunday. So, and all those listening who are here live and catching the replay, this space is all about inspiring each other, sharing stories, and connecting. So please like, follow, share, do all of that stuff so more people can see this, because I believe that we have always needed to be there for each other and lift each other up. We need it now more than ever. So I'm sorry, I cut you off. So wherever you are in this world, I wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and look forward to talking to you soon. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Feeling inspired? There are so many ways to do things for you, to get yourself moving, to get your creative juices flowing, and to have fun. Check out I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing. Go to iamcreativephilly.com, iamcreativephilly, PHILLY.com, and check out the experiential kits. Check out Creative Shui, which is all about creative inspiration and guidance. And for Express Yourself Publishing, there's so many multi-author book opportunities. So I would love to chat with you so much. Everybody's creative. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has an expression, and I can't wait to meet you. Thank you so much for taking this hour to listen to our stories and share the energy. And I wish you a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this world. Bye, everybody.